No, it's pretty good.
Hirap pala magluto ng dalawa-dalawa. Tamal is a simple yet indigenous dish from Mexico. So it's masa or corn dough, and then it's wrapped in a corn husk and then steamed and cooked to perfection. Yet alam mo ba, to the ancient Mesoamericans, it was all worth it. Kasi to them, tamales is practical. So the soldiers and the hunters before, they would carry this nutritious, filling, easy portable cakes with them while they were away from home. Pero eventually, nag-evolve siya. So, from this on-the-go snack to a more culturally significant dish na sinaserve nila sa mga feast, mga religious rituals even.
From there, it passed through Mexico and then Spain, eventually the Philippines, and it happened through the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade.
When Spanish galleons began sailing between Manila and Acapulco in 1565, they brought in more than just silver and goods. They brought ingredients, recipes, and culinary traditions across the Pacific. So Mexican cooks, settlers, and sailors, they brought tamales in the Philippines, which is the new home for the dish.
We Filipinos had a knack for indigenizing certain foods that were brought to us here. I mean, like we wanted to use our own ingredients or what was available for us that was, taught or brought here. I mean, we substituted rice flour for masa because that's something that was readily available. We added peanuts, annatto, coconuts, all these other things. And, as a result, it's something uniquely Filipino to us.
And as Filipinos, we love being extras. We add in chicken, eggs, shrimps, sometimes chorizos. And instead of corn husks, we use banana leaves.
So mine's actually going to be Binaki or Pintos from Cebu and my region, Northern Mindanao.
And finally, for me, it's Zamboanga's Tamal. So that's 6 versions in one video. So we better get right into it.
So pag sa Bogo, Cebu, it's called Binaki, and sa Mindanao, it's called Pintos. So later on, I'm gonna tell you the difference kung ano yung difference ng Binaki tsaka ng Pintos. But basically, it's a sweet kind of tamales that uses corn. So the recipe that I'm gonna be doing now is actually recipe ni Ate Lori V.
I decided to make pintos during pandemic. May sweet corn kasi yung cousin ko, kaya tinry kong gawin. And nag-click naman siya.
So she is from Northern Mindanao, so mas tawag nila dito, pintos naman.
Unique ang aking pintos kasi wala siyang halong artificial ingredients. And mafe-feel mo talaga yung sweetness ng sweet corn. So mag-start lang ka is shred the corn para maging puree na siya. And then, dyan mo ilagay yung mga ingredients like corn grits or tik-tik, cornstarch, butter, and a little bit of salt. Kailangan mong isalang muna siya sa apoy until magiging dough na siya.
This would be easier to wrap na. So we're just going to lay a corn husk and then mag-add tayo na siguro around 2 to 3 tablespoons of our dough. So, ifo-form lang natin siya sigurong parang rectangular shape, ganon. And then, we are gonna fold it inwards, yung sides. We're going to lay another corn husk, pero opposite direction. We're gonna wrap it naman inwards, and then pinch, and then fold the sides. There you have it! So, tingnan nyo guys, gets nyo na ba kung ba't baki-baki or binaki yung tawag sa kanya? Kasi, mukha talaga siyang frog, di ba? Kulang na lang, magkukokak na siya, di ba? Masarap talaga pag yung pintos o yung binaki is shared, lalo na pag fiesta. So, let me call my taste tester, Jerry! This sounds so good! Yung energy na dito. I'm so excited to eat something sweet today. Sobrang nostalgic na talaga for me kasi ganito talaga yung lasa ng mga pinto sa fiesta namin. Kala ko chichirya kasi ganyan yung lasa ng chichirya namin. Ay, yung sweet corn flavored chips. Yeah! And I love the texture of the graininess. Yeah, it's actually the, dahil sa cornmeal. Or yung bigas na mais. Sarap. So, nagbibigay siya ng parang nice bite to it. Actually, hindi na to tasting kasi paubos na. Naubos na. Feast na siya, mukbang. Sarap!
After the sweet naman, it's back to savory. So
I'm sure you're doing savory
yeah, that's why
tamales.
I really wanted to eat something sweet first because I know I'm gonna eat something savory.
Hi, I'm Trish, and today we are making tamales based on the cookbook The Cuisine of Quezon by Milada Diallo Valde. So just for everyone to know, this is my first time to make tamales, but I've had it before, so hopefully we can recreate it as good as that. Alright, first we are going to start with the 2 kilos of rice. Where's my rice? Alright, so our wok is getting hot. I'm just gonna put in the rice. And then we are just gonna toast it until it gets like brown and nice. We're gonna keep stirring just to make sure that hindi masunog yung ating bigas. We just wanted like a nice caramel-like color. After a few minutes, it's finally got into this nice toasty color. So this we are going to immerse in water. According to the cookbook, it says the next morning have both rice samples grinded separately and set aside. Look, it's small. After the white rice, next naman igigiling natin ang toasted rice. In it goes the food processor. Ta-da! Pieces of chicken already shred up, ready to go on top of our tamales.
Call me Trish the Chef. Today we are going to be cooking not just 1, but 2 types of rice in our stovetop.
Step number 10 says to divide the cooking oil, garlic, and onions.
Onion, half. Hirap pala magluto ng dalawa-dalawa. Parang ako yung nahirapan. The stock also. Challenge pala ako ngayon sa aking hand-eye coordination.
Next, we will put in the dough. Whew, this really is a labor of love. But after adding the stock in and putting in the rice flour, there we have some sort of a paste-like consistency. Ayan, so ito set aside na natin. Let's work on the toasted rice naman. It's time to wrap our tamales. Here we have our banana leaf. Magaling ako magbalot ng regalo, guys, pero tamales hindi ko sure. Okay, and then top it with chicken, egg, and roasted peanuts. What I love about the Quezon version of tamales is that the peanut is actually buo. So parang feeling ko when you eat it later, parang may texture siya. Okay, next, we will wrap it. O, diba? Pag babalot ng regalo, kaya ko yan, guys. To taste the tamales of Quezon Province, I have my taste tester, Chef Martin! Tapoy!
Oh yeah, I brought some welcoming.
Thank you!
Is that chicken?
Yeah, it's chicken. So there's 2 kinds of rice.
No, that's pretty good.
The peanuts, I think, are very important to it.
I should try it with the peanut.
That's what makes it different. Also, toasted rice are medyo close siya in flavor, kahit just a hint.
I like how this is already a full meal. You get carbs, you get protein.
Yeah, I wonder if you just pack it in your bag and open and eat it
I
when
think so,
you're
no?
on
Pwede
the
siyang
go.
merienda.
Yeah.
Pwede siyang lunch, breakfast, on the go.
For me, I'm gonna make tamales from Bulacan. It's sweeter. Parang dalawa lang yata today yung matamis nating. Hi, I'm Martin and I'm making the tamales from Bulacan. So our recipe came from Chef Ralph Canta. So dapat toasted rice na ninakaw ko kay Trish and plain rice, we'll soak it overnight. Pero syempre, hindi ko na kayo pag-aantayan. So pag sinabing overnight, that usually means 8 hours. So we'll just drain the rice, set it aside first. So alam mong soaked enough yung rice if you get 1 grain, tas you can crush it with your fingers. Parang ganyan. So for our toppings, it will be latik. Salted eggs, chop lang natin yan. So ito, kung nilagyan nyo ng star anise, cinnamon, onting cloves, pwede na siyang gawing horchata. So, lalagyan ko ng onting liquid para lang mag-blend siya ng maayos. So, yung rason bakit tayo nag-soak ng rice, para kapag nag-blend tayo, it can be this smooth. Magiging paste siya. So, we'll start off with our coconut milk. Painitin lang natin. Once it starts to heat up, very low simmering, we'll add our rice paste. So yeah, thank you to Chef Ralph Canta for sharing this recipe. Kasi honestly, used to hang out a lot in Bulacan. I didn't know they had tamales there. Once the paste and the coconut milk has fully mixed together, tipong na-thin out mo na yung rice paste mo, I'll add in my sugar and then the pandan. My pepper, and then I'll cook it until thick. So at this point, tanggalin ko na tong pandan, and then just really start mixing. So at this point, our tamales is all good. All that's left to do is cool this down for a bit, not fully. I'd say put half a cup. What I like doing is like pre-molding it. Gusto ko ng onting shape. I'll put a tablespoon of salted egg, a teaspoon of that. Saka ko siya i-fold na. So whenever we do our Around the Philippines, kailangan yung titikim, hindi lang yung gumawa. Kailangan may isa rin. So for today, it's gonna be Sam for me.
Ayan, dinala kita ng left lang wall.
Oh, lang.
So-
Best to try it with the latik.
Just some sweet savory.
Yeah. This is super close to rice cake.
Wow.
It's really chewy, not like chewy tough. It's more, it doesn't melt.
Oh.
You know when tamales
Nice
is usually like, it melts in your mouth.
It's like mochi, but not as close to
Right?
the chewy part. It's really nice.
Yeah. I really like it. Well, what are you gonna make?
I'm gonna make Tamal de Zamboanga. It's a very interesting take on tamal because it has sotang on
Oh,
inside. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Next, we're gonna cook up Tamal de Zamboanga from Chef Efran.
So what makes tamal different here in Zamboanga is that our dough very much leans forward into the more savory side. Our dough is more peppery. The filling itself, since it has sotanghon, it's very filling, it's very hearty. Starting with our achuete oil, we'll be sauteing our garlic, shredded chicken, and shrimps.
Hibe is very common in Zamboanga due to its coastal area. To this, we're gonna add our green onions. We can add in our ketchup manis. You can add in some oyster sauce, regular soy sauce for color. You can deglaze it with water. And now we can add in our noodles. Depends on how salty you want it. Recipe calls for chicken cube. I'm just doing half for now.
And letting it simmer until the sotanghon fully absorbs all of the liquid. Starting out with our dough, we'll be taking coconut milk, sugar, salt, and pepper.
The other half of our chicken cube. Then we can add in our rice flour. And just gently stir in your mixture.
Cooking it in a low heat until it forms a somewhat maja blanca consistency. For our filling, we'll be taking a banana leaf and spreading a thin layer of our dough.
Next up, we're gonna add in generous portion of our meat and some sotanghon. They skillfully roll this, do a second roll, and then tuck it in. Then you're securing the sides, and then one final tuck.
And preparing it by steaming it for 10 to 15 minutes or until the dough is fully cooked and it's firm to the touch.
Uy, ang cute. What's this?
Right? It's called Tamal de Zamboanga. It's made with rice flour, coconut milk, and then it's stuffed with sotanghon.
Ooh.
And drink.
My shrimp. Dried hibe.
Yeah. Correct. Talino mo, ah.
I like the texture. Chewy, galing sa rice flour mixture. Kasama din ng sotanghon.
Yeah.
Pero chewy sila in a different sense.
Anyways, what are you making today?
I'll be doing Pampanga's own version of tamales called Bobotu with Miss Teresa Ryandayan from Angeles City, Pampanga, sharing her recipe.
Let's talk about my childhood favorite Pinoy delicacy, tamales. O mas kilala naming mga Kapampangan bilang Bobotu.
Okay, so for our first step, I have here our shredded and boiled chicken. I'm gonna add in annatto oil for color. Mix it well. And I'm just gonna let it sit hanggang ma-infuse yung annatto oil sa ating chicken. 2 cups of rice flour to 2 cups of water. There. And I'm gonna mix it until it's fully combined. Add in some oil. We have here garlic and onion. A little fun fact, Bobotu actually came from the root word botu, which means to vote. And back then, story goes that the women used to cook this dish while the men went out to cast out their votes. Hence the name Bobotu. I have here my chicken cube. I have here 2 cups of coconut milk. Now, we can add in yung ginawa natin kanina. And I'll continue stirring it until it thickens. It's turning into a dough already.
it's time to turn off our heat. And we're gonna add in annatto oil and our crushed peanuts. So Miss Teresa also shared her secret tip na in order for your dough to be creamier, you can add peanut butter. Okay? That's done. Now it's time to assemble. We're gonna add a big scoop of the plain mixture first and top it with about a tablespoon of our annatto peanut mixture. Then our meat, our shredded chicken. Miss Teresa said na you can actually add any toppings you'd like ham, peanuts. Make sure it's secure. I'm gonna add another banana leaf to make sure na hindi siya bumuka. We're gonna add tali. I'm gonna add in our bobotu. And I'm gonna let it steam for about an hour until it's fully set. Before we open it, we have to let it sit muna for about 30 minutes kasi it's soft pa sa loob. 30 minutes and then time to dig in. To taste with me, I have someone all the way from the south of Manila. We have Seth! Pasok! Uy, nasan na yun?
Wala, gusto ko lang. Just wanted to mess with her. Okay, what do we have here?
We have here tamales ng Pampanga called Bobotu.
Sa election tayo ay?
Bobotu! Oh!
And I saw as you were making it a while ago, there's also some red onions in here. Correct?
So, ko yung garlic, onion, and also for added taste, chicken cube.
Okay.
Yep.
So, more of a savory
Yeah, it's a
atake
savory
talaga.
dish.
Okay, game. Try natin.
Try.
Cheers. Parang siyang solid ginataan. Di ba?
You get some crunch from the peanuts.
Not only do you get the flavor of the coconut milk, you get the fragrance of the banana leaf, which is also, I think, very Filipino in a sense. I mean, traditional Mexican tamales. I mean, we have some here that use coconut husk, but then this can cater to a very Filipino palate, as as familiar as banana leaves can be, and as versatile as it can be.
Yeah. Isang pack lang, oh. Lagay mo lang sa bulsa mo. Ready to go?
Baon mo na. Ako naman, gagawin ko is Tamalos. It's a version of Tamales in Samar. I got this recipe straight here from the books of the secret kitchens of Samar. Since we have the paksiw ready, we can start by making our pipian, which is going to be our peanut-based sauce. And as the book says, we have to do it in a large bayo. But we don't have that, so I'm going to use this mocajete. Or if you don't have this, use a mortar and pestle. So first I got my roasted peanuts. Here I'm going to add some sliced garlic. Extract the flavor faster, rather when you get whole. And then you can have your brown sugar to taste right here. And I add a bit of that. And I'm going to dry pound this for now. I'm going to add my annatto water. This is going to give a little bit of color, a little more nuttiness. So what you can do as you're pounding this, just add sauce little by little. I'm going to go in with some of my annatto water. Tapos titimplahan ko na rin with a little bit of coconut vinegar. And you just want to go back and forth until you get the flavors you want. Oh wow, look at that. All of my hard work. Man, it took me about 2 hours to do this all in the mortar and pestle. You can add it into a preferably non-stick pan. And from there, I'm gonna add a little bit more of annatto water, just so that it gets a little more loose, because we want that to thicken in the pan. So adding that extra water will help it give it a buffer, just so that it doesn't dry up. And there you have it. Rice flour. Then I'm just gonna add some water. All right. So now I'm gonna use my hand since it's not super liquidy. Just going to go in there. As you can see, you want to squeeze those into each other because sometimes yung mga liquid is more than you think that's in there. And the more that you press solids into it, the more it will hydrate that. So I'm gonna turn that over to my work surface, and I'm going to mix it more in here. So a nice way to kind of check if it's good or not is if you roll it into a ball and you press it, the less cracks there are, the more smooth the outcome is gonna be. So as you can see, there's still some cracks there, but I kind of like that rusticness. This is the dough I have here. Slam that down and get ready to roll it out. So I have the dough here and I am rolling it almost paper thick. So commercial break, the pipian is getting nice and thick. I don't want it to get super thick before I add the vinegar, para hindi siya masunog. So here, I'm gonna take off the peel on top, take that away, and then hold it in. Bam. Anyway, so I have here my rice paper, and I'm going to add my chunks, a little bit of that pipian sauce, and then I'm going to fold that in. Ow! So I'm gonna add some bit more sauce that I have here. I'm gonna lather that on here, and then just spread it, go little by little. All right, so here I have Nika with me, and she's gonna try this with me because apparently she loves tamalos.
Yes. My dad's from Leyte, and they actually have this there.
So this one uses paksiw. I know the big boss used adobo in his.
Yes.
So let's give it a shot.
So good. Right off the bat, you can taste the rice cake layer. Parang yung dough. It's nice and chewy. Parang siyang mochi-like in consistency.
Yeah, I think that's the type of word I was looking for. And because the peanut sauce is so sweet, nababalance siya ng paksiw.
Paksiw. But yung asim ng paksiw is actually very mellow. What suka
I
do you
use coconut vinegar.
Okay.
And then, namamellow out rin siya ng mismong
Peanut sauce.
Yeah.
Kasi ang sarap actually. May parang freshness na din hint yung sauce, no? Yung peanut sauce. Good job, Seth. I actually like it.
You know, it's super cool, something that came from abroad, made it our own, and then yung kapitbahay mo made it their own. It's super cool to see. Na savory, bigla matamis yung sa amin.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys want to see, what ATP or around the Philippines you want to see more of, and we'll do our best to deliver.
Yeah, so this has been
Around the Philippines! Insert Ina, she's sick.
Yeah, she's sick. Please, we want to do kambing.
Kambing.
Ba't tayo nagtanong?
Insert Ina, she had to go home midway because she got sick.